Hello, hello, hello! Hello, welcome back to story time. I won't keep you now blabbing. Welcome, everyone. Let's see if I don't throw this light. Okay, I just did a video and I'm continuing because I talk too long, like always. You can skip to, if you haven't watched that one, skip to 7 minutes or so if you don't want to hear the blabbing. All right, so we are reading Ivy and Bean Make the Rules. This is book number 9. So let's continue. There's a new chapter starting. It's called The Queen's Garbage. The last day of Camp Flaming Arrow started out quietly. In front of the tent, Harlan and Franny and Dino and Sophie W. gathered around Ivy and Bean. Juanito and Leo were hiding inside the tent. The puppet fun. Counselor had given up on Ella and the 3 zombies as long as they promised to stay in Monkey Park. So they were there too. Oh my goodness. See, she's gaining people into her so-called camp. Ivy was going to read from a book called Daredevil in Dresses. What? Heroines of History. Boudica, Queen of the Britons, Ivy read. She looked up. Boudica had red hair like me. But I've never heard of this story. What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's find out what's about. Boudica, it turned out, was a tough patootie who had lived a long time ago. When her husband died, she was supposed to get his kingdom, but the rotten Roman governor said, "Ha ha ha, I'm the governor and I get what I want." He took her kingdom and even threw her in jail. Are you kidding me? Whoa, look at that. That looks really old. So, but then he made a big mistake. He went on vacation. Boudica escaped from jail and told all the men in her kingdom to get off their duffs and fight for her. But they said no. They were wimps. Boudica said, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And she led an army from her chariot. A chariot is a bitty carriage pulled by horses. It's like she only had here 1 horse, so it was itty bitty. Boudica swung her sword left and right and mowed down all the Romans in sight. There was a very interesting picture of that in the book. And when the governor heard that Boudica, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Boudica, well, that's what it looks to me, was coming in her chariot, he and his army ran away, read Ivy, with their knees quacking in terror. Oh, quacking in terror being repeated. Boudica was brave. Boudica was cool. There was a silence while they all thought about Boudica. "Now," I said Ivy, putting the book down, "it's time for hands-on learning." Bean nodded like she knew what that was. Maybe someone else would ask. "Hands-on what?" said Dino. Oh my God. Hands-on learning means I get to be Boudica first. "Because I have red hair," said Ivy. "Bean's my sister. You guys," she pointed at Sophie W., Dino, Ella, and the zombies. "You are the Roman army. The rest of you," she waved her hand at the Brighton warriors. What in the world? She doesn't have a chariot or a horse. She has a stick. The Roman army slept peacefully on the grass. Little did they know that Queen Boudica, her sister Bean, and the Breton warriors were creeping up on them. Look at this one hiding. He's hiding on the bush. They didn't know it until Bean leaped out from behind a bush, screeching, "Surrender, Roman dogs!" Two of the zombies caved at once, but Dino, Sophie W., and Ella put up a good fight. In fact, they chased Harlan around until he surrendered, which was not what was supposed to happen. They put him in jail, but he was bravely rescued by Queen Boudica and her sister, who duke it out stick to stick with Dino and Ella. Juanito double-crossed the queen by switching sides halfway through, but then Leo caught him and put him in chains, which was okay because the chains were really jackets. The two zombies decided they wanted to be Breton warriors. Oh my gosh, instead of Roman soldiers. Bean couldn't remember if Franny was on her side or not. "Time out!" she shouted. "Everyone stop! This is too confusing. Let's all be Breton warriors," she said. Oh my gosh, look at this mess. One is in jail. They're fighting. I think that's Bean on the ground. Who's going to be the Roman army?" asked Dino. Bean looked at the Monkey Park lawn. "Garbage!" "Oh, the Roman army is going to be garbage." Garbage made a good army. It was good because there was plenty of garbage in Monkey Park. Really? Clean it up, people. Clean after yourself. It was also good because they could poke holes in garbage and they couldn't poke holes in each other. When the wind began to blow the garbage around, it got even better. Look at her with the stick, and there's like a cup, and she's running towards it to poke it. Well, get a trash can and throw it away. Those rotten Romans were trying to escape, being chased a coffee cup between the bushes, trying to spear it with her sword. It tumbled off and she went after it, leaving the rest of Britons behind. Oh my gosh. Every time she thought she had that Roman, it rolled a little further. Oh, or farther. It rolled and tumbled all the way to the youth center. Being stopped. Real camp. She could hear music coming from inside. Bean circled past the window where she and Ivy had watched the girl Power Forever Craft Time and came to a door. She went in. The music was louder inside. It was so loud that nobody even looked her way. Bean stood at the back of the youth center and watched some girls walk to the right. Then they walked to the left. Then they swung their hands up in the air and looked at them. All the girls were dressed in black, so it was hard to tell one from the other. Bean squinted. Oh, there was Nancy. Her head was tilted up. She was looking at her hand. She wasn't smiling. She was counting. Bean could see her lips moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the girls were counting. In a line, they moved forward and twirled, and then moved back. Bean looked at the girls in the audience. They were all sitting quietly in rows. This was real camp. It looked terrible. I bet she wants to be in here so bad. Look at the girls just waving their arms on there. Oh my gosh. There was a big wail and the music ended. The routine dancers stopped moving and stood in a line. The girls in a row began to clap nicely. Bean stuffed her stick under her arm and began to clap. Yay! Way to go, Nancy! She hollered. Yay! Oh, she forgot she's not supposed to be there. Oops! Everyone was turning around to look at her. Even the dancers were looking at her. Nancy was looking at her. Bean, stop yelling! There was a long silence. Yikes, how embarrassing. Bye! Bean called and zipped out the door before Nancy could begin freaking out. Look at yeah, a picture of her clapping and her stick under her arm. I keep moving this. I'm so sorry. I hope I don't make you dizzy. Outside she ran. That felt good. She ran back to the middle of Monkey Park, where no one was sitting still. Boudica's army had grown. Kids were running around, chasing garbage and yelling, "Surrender, Roman dog!" Bean found Queen Boudica running after a brown paper bag that bounced and blew over the grass. "Hail, sister!" cried Ivy. "To arms!" yelled Bean. They chased the brown paper bag, Roman all the way to Monkey Fountain. Where? Hooray! It blew right into the water. Queen Boudica held up the sword and yelled, "Onward, warriors!" So they both took off their shoes and charged into the fountain. They're gonna get in trouble. Oh no. They chased that brown paper, roaming around and around the monkey, sploshing and splashing. Pretty soon, half of the Breton warriors were in the fountain too. A bunch of tiny kids standing beside the fountain got confused and threw more garbage into the water. I can't imagine. But Boudica's army fought bravely on. Oh my gosh. They're gonna kick them out of the park, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, look at this mess. Everybody's there. Look at all the garbage. The kids running, taking more garbage. Whoa. And the monkey's in the middle of the fountain. The monkey is funny looking. "Surrender!" hollered Ivy, spearing the last candy wrapper with her stick. "Long live the queen!" yelled Franny. Yeah! squalled the tiny kids. Their squalling made all their moms look up. And once those moms looked up, they started losing their minds. Something about sticking, poking eyes. In no time at all, Boudica's warriors were kicked out of the fountain. "I guess we're better quit," said Bean, squeezing out her shirt. Ivy nodded, dumping the last of the Romans into the garbage can. "Good!" "This was the best day yet," said Leo. Oh my gosh, look at those moms are angry. Look at the moms. Oh no. They got soaking wet. They were fighting, yelling. Oh, they had a great time. That's what a kid is supposed to do, right? Forever After. Look at the title. Forever After. This is their camp. Camp Flaming Arrow was over. Harlan and Franny had been the last to go. Their dad was coming to pick them up the next day. "I'm going to ask him if we can come next year," Harlan said. "But this isn't a real camp," Franny said. "Is it?" Bean tried to look mysterious. "Time will tell." After they had said goodbye, Bean turned to the tent. "I guess we'd better take this thing down now." Oh, he was hugging. "Guess so," said Ivy. She pulled on a curtain. Nancy was lying inside, being stared. What the heck are you doing? You spied on me, so I spied on you, said Nancy. I wasn't spying on you, Bean said. I was just sort of watching. Did you like our routine? Asked Nancy. It was great, lied Bean. It looked super fun, Nancy sighed. Actually, it was kind of boring. Yeah, I agree, Bean. After she said that it was so much fun. Oh, jeez. Girl power forever. Nancy sighed again. I thought it was going to be fun, but then it was just the same thing over and over, she said. Couldn't you quit? Asked Ivy. I would have quit. Nope, said Nancy. Once you started, you had to finish. That was the rule. It's a terrible rule, said Bean. Our camp didn't have the rules like that, said Ivy. Nancy smiled. You guys had a pretend camp. It wasn't pretend, Ivy said. Whatever, said Nancy. She looked at Ivy's dress. How'd you get all wet? I was Boudica, Queen of the Britons, said Ivy proudly. A great woman of history. You had great women of history? Said Nancy, surprised. So did we. Look at her. She's dripping water from her dress. She's still holding the stick. She's crazy. We fell in Monkey Mountain, Bean said. Boudica's whole army fell in. They didn't fall in. They walked in it. We just had a slideshow, said Nancy. Slideshow and rules, said Bean. Sounds like school. It was kind of like school, said Nancy. Do this, do that. Yuck, said Ivy. Nancy looked between Ivy and Bean. Was it just the two of you in your camp? No, there were lots of kids here, said Ivy. We were the counselors. We sort of follow this, said Bean, taking out the Girl Power Forever brochure. We were trying to be like Girl Power Forever. Nancy sneered. I don't think so. We did all the same stuff, said Bean. We did crafts and nature study and first aid. What crafts did you do? Asked Nancy. Friendship bracelets, Bean said. That's how we started anyway. But we ended up learning how to escape from ropes, Ivy went on, like Houdini. Nancy burst out laughing. You goons. What are goons? Said Bean. It was fun. You want us to show you? Asked Ivy. We can show you how to do it. Oh no! They tied her up like a hug. Look at that. Oh my gosh. How is she going to get away from that? At first, Nancy said no, but then after a minute, she said, okay, show me. Together, Ivy and Bean tied Nancy up tight, and then they told her how to get free. Nancy grunted and wiggled and laughed at them, but she was having fun. Bean could tell. After that, they showed her the Heimlich maneuver. They described the Komodo dragon. They did strength training and how to be a zombie. Finally, it was time to go home for dinner. Ivy folded the tent and Big Bean took the sign. Camp Flaming Arrow. Nancy read out loud. Pretty good. You guys could make a real camp. All you've had to do is send out a brochure and make some t-shirts and stuff. I bet you get lots of kids signing up. Ivy and Bean looked at each other. Brochures? T-shirts? Sign-ups? They shook their heads. Nah, they said together. The end. Oh, it was so cute. I liked it. Did you like it? It was so much fun. Oh my goodness. I really liked that book. It was a lot of adventures, a lot of fun. laughing. So I hope that if you go to camp, I don't know how that's gonna be if they're gonna open camps this summer, but whatever you do, have fun doing it and be safe as always. Look around you. If you're gonna walk to your friend's house, don't go alone, stuff like that, because I used to freak out so much. I used to follow my kids every time they said, "Can I go to so and so's house? But don't take me, I'll take my bike." And I'm like, "Okay," and then I would follow. But I mean, as a mother, you have to be careful. Things happen. So don't be too hard on your parents if they do the same thing, because as Hispanics, we're always helicopter moms. We're always like, "Where is she? Where is he? What is he doing? Where are you? Open the door." I hope you have fun with the book, and I'll see what I can do for the next book. I'll figure it out, I guess. Okay, so I'll see you on the next one. Have a happy. Well, it's not summer yet. So have a happy birthday. It's your birthday and anniversary. It's gonna be my anniversary. You know how many years? 41 years. That's a lot of years. That's a lot. It'll be on the 18th of this month. It's a date during the week. So I don't even know if my husband is off. And we'll probably do the same thing we always do. Nothing. Oh, see you later. Okay. Love you guys. Hugs and kisses, and be good. All right. You promise.